Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. It's Dr. Danny, physician, astrologer. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. YouTube is acting so weird. I didn't even get notified about my own video. Luckily, I have it in my calendar. So we're here. We're doing it. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. Let me know if you can't. Make sure the sound is in sync. We want to make sure this is all together before we get started because I have an amazing presentation for you. Oh my goodness. I wanted to I'm an astrologer. So I like to look at the astrology. I like to read the energies and see what's coming. And when I was looking at the dates between today and the 1st of March, which is when Venus finally goes retrograde, there's only about 5 transits that Prometheus Capricorn picks up for you. But if you dig into the chart and you look at the degrees, then you can start taking numerology and making all these amazing connections. And so I've done that for you. This is going to be a huge and mind-blowing decode for you. And we're going to do astrology at the same time. So I'm very, very excited to bring all of this to you. It's all related to the Fibonacci sequence, the constants of pi, phi, and the fine structure constant or the Phoenix constant, and then the number 33 as well as the Fibonacci sequence. So I'm going to explain all of that today. This is a Venus video, so that's why the intro was about Venus. I'm going to give you a little primer about Venus as well. We're going to talk about Venus in Pisces. Venus is going to be in Pisces for a very long time, so probably till about mid-May. So we have a lot of time to really feel into this creative energy of Venus in Pisces. I've had such an interesting week, you guys. I've been so incredibly productive. I am working on a huge project that I will be ready to announce probably later this week or next week. Some of you already know, but I'll be ready to share it with the greater public probably next week, the announcements anyway. Um, Couple of other big announcements. Athen Comenti has agreed to do a pre-recorded podcast with me, and we're recording that not this Thursday, but next Thursday. So if those of you who don't know who Athen Comenti is, he is the creator and founder of Mastering the Zodiac. Okay. And that's where he was my light in the dark for years. I followed his every word and his teachings and used his charts and his software. And so I realized after I did the transactions with him to get Stellar Foundations off the ground and get all of you guys in there with the software that I'd never actually talked to him face to face. So I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, maybe we should chat, like let's get together and just, talk about stuff." So he's agreed to do an hour with me and I'm really excited about that. So that we'll be seeing that in a couple of weeks. Stellar Foundations is moving right along. My mother, who said she would never be able to understand astrology, I spoke to her this morning, and she says that she is completely and utterly blown away by how she's picking it up because what we're doing in Stellar Foundations is immersing ourselves in the archetypes as we go, week by week. And it's really fantastic. We have such an amazing group. We're going to meet tomorrow night for office hours number 3. And the topic of conversation is going to be the ether and why astrology works. And I'm going to arm the students with ways to sort of stand in your power when someone asks you, why do you do astrology? Why do you believe that even works? And there are things that you can say that will really be profound and hopefully get people to kind of come on board and want to look into astrology a little bit more. So I'll arm you with that. And I'm really excited to deliver that to you. A couple more announcements, and then we'll dive into it. The eclipse reading for this year, for this eclipse season, is available. It's in the description below. So if you want to get your energy read for this eclipse, please click on that link. I was going to do a meditation with it for each of you, but what I wanted to do is do the meditation for the whole collective at large. So the eclipse meditation will be broadcast on YouTube. I may do it live. I may do it pre-recorded. It just depends. But I wanted to try and bring collective energy into the meditation. So I left that out of the reading, but the reading is going to be really good. If you do get it, you're going to get a complete review of your natal chart. So I don't need to have seen you before. And we will talk about the lunar eclipse as well as the solar eclipse. So if you're interested, if you want to do that, that link's below. Please, take advantage of that. And then also, if you're more of a Venus lover and you like to follow my Venus work and you want a Venus reading and you've never done that before, this Venus reading is going to be very good and it will include the eclipses as well. So it just depends on, what angle you want to go at your chart with it. I think the Venus reading is a bit more in depth than the eclipse reading itself. So those are my announcements. That's the podcast schedule. Later this week, you guys are going to get a teaching from me, and I've titled it Octarine, the color of magic and the metaphysics of light. And so that's going to be an amazing discussion, and I hope you guys can join me for that and do a Q&A. So those are all my announcements. I know it's been a while since we've chatted. It's been about 10 days, right? I think last Thursday is when we actually came together and talked. And we did the decode for the full moon. So let me know how that full moon was for you guys. For me, it was pretty intense. It was a Leo moon. Those are always really big and intense for me. And then this whole week I had to work quite a bit, but I've also been very, very productive. I got this presentation together for you, and then I've started my other big project that I'll announce later this week or next week. So that's everything. That's what I've been doing. I'm so excited to be back with you guys. Who do we have today? We have 20 in the chat right now. Let's see. I saw Lori. She's always here. Love you, Lori. Thank you so much for being here. Look up astrology. And then we have spiritually lucky, loving the chaotic void energy, and the lovely goddess mother. Oh, yes, all of that. I actually saw the moon setting this morning because after a full moon, a couple of days after, as soon as the sun rises, you can see the moon setting. And it's almost a full moon, like a little, like it's a, what do they call it? A waning gibbous. And I realized it was in Virgo today. So I just imagined the birthing mother sky goddess with the moon there as the moon was setting. Let's see who else is here. Ultimus is here. Thank you so much. Christine Yan is here. Hello, hello. Diane Allen from Mexico. Hello, beautiful lady. Ashki Bauer is here. Teresa's here. Quantum Mania, New York City tapping in. Hello, hello. Can I move my mic back a bit? Yes, I can do that. Actually, I'll just sit back a little. I'm sorry. I was really excited to get this started. Beth Hanson's here. Hello, Star Family. Hello, hello. All right. Oh, yeah. And Lori posted that free chart link there. That is programmed by Mastering the Zodiac. So if you click on that link, there's a bug down at the bottom that says powered by Mastering the Zodiac. That's who we're going to be talking to in a couple of weeks. Mom is the best. Yes, she is. She might be listening. I told her to jump on. So hopefully she'll say hi. Oh, spiritually lucky. I missed you too. Cool. Well, I worked 4 24-hour shifts in the last 8 days. So, I mean, it was amazing. And it was actually a lot of bad things happened. Not things that we could prevent, just, sometimes in medicine, sad things happen. And I had quite a week like that. A few babies didn't make it. And it's just crazy when it all piles up in 1 week, like you get the bad outcomes like once in a while, in this kind of job. And most of it's really happy. Like a lot of times, we have really good outcomes. Everyone's real happy that they got their brand new baby, but every once in a while, something not so good happens. And, I'd be more detailed, but I really can't talk about it on YouTube. So anyway, all that was going on this week, and it was really tough and a little bit of trauma for me. But I'm good now. I'm off for the next week. We got stellar foundations. Oh, I'm just so happy to be here. So let's do this. We have 19 in the chat. I want to share my screen. I want to show you the sky for the next 2 weeks. And then once we get through that, I want to show you where you can, if you want to be decoding, if you like the method, where you can get the resources. I learned from watching Decode Your Reality with Logan Jason, fantastic person, wonderful human being. So check out his channel if you haven't already. I'll show you where to get the decoding resources. And then I want to show you the Venus video as we dive into Venus, and then we'll get into the presentation. All right, let me share screen. And let me make sure I'm sharing the correct screen. Entire screen. And let's go to, I like this because it's a little bit bigger, even though y'all don't see me. Let's get into it. Okay, so here we are. This is today. This is right about now. And we have the sun right here, just traversed into the constellation of Aquarius. That's right. The sun is right here. Tropical astrology, my friends, has the sun right over here, about to enter into Pisces in about 4 days. So I always call that time of the month the time of the month for me, right? So like every time it's the 20th, because that's whenever they change signs because all the constellations are the same size. Anyway, around the 20th, I always kind of put out a little meme or a little, the more you know kind of thing that says, yeah, no, the sun's actually here. So we will be in Aquarius for a little while. And by the 20th of uh, February, we will not be in Pisces yet. So let's watch the sun move through this transit. We're going to go from today until the 1st of March. That's right, guys. We're getting through it. We are getting out of winter. So that's basically the transit of the sun through Aquarius. So we won't actually get there until right about here. Now, besides the transits that are happening, the aspects to the sun and the aspects to Venus, there are also there's a significant sign change going on, and that's Saturn moving into constellational Pisces. That's a big deal. Venus is also going to station retrograde during this transit. Mars is going to station direct. So this is, a big time. Energetically speaking, Venus is slowing down in the sky. Let's actually look at her. But what's actually happening is that the movement right to left is slowing down, but the movement from way back over here to towards the earth, the in and out plane of this is much, much faster. So in other words, Venus is physically approaching us as a massive body in space towards the massive body of Earth. So while she's slowing down from right to left, you're going to feel her energy increase exponentially and very intensely over the next several weeks. So let's watch this. Let me go back a little bit. So we're here today. And you can see Venus is basically going to go from 21 degrees of Pisces to 17 degrees of Pisces to 21 degrees of Pisces during this transit. So real slow. Look at that. Basically stopping in the sky right there. And then this is the day she stations retrograde. And you'll see her moving backwards. There's the time change. Oh my gosh, y'all. Okay, good. So what's Venus in Pisces? I know we've reviewed this, and you can open up a textbook and you can read about Venus being about love and relationships and beauty and harmony, and then Pisces is sort of a watery, creative, sublime, surrendering kind of energy, a very giving energy. And you put these two together and you basically get like a dreamy muse, dreamy creativity. But there's so much, there's a much deeper energy here with Venus. Venus is to me more than just the planet of love, beauty, and harmony and relationships. Venus is the source where you can tap into your true creative potential. And when you can do that, then Venus enables your immortality, either through your creative legacy, what you create here on Earth that people remember you for, or for something that you procreate. So your children, your children's children. So Venus is about your immortality through your creative and procreative legacy. And how do you create? What happens when you're creating? Well, I've dove very deeply into this issue, into this idea, into this topic around the energy of Venus. And I've looked to see, what chakra is she related to? What day of the week? We all know all of that stuff. But I don't think Venus is related to any chakra. I think if you think of sunlight, like the sun over here in Aquarius to the right, Venus is the internal sun, that fourth dimensional liquid light that rises from the base of the spine through the body and out. Attaining wisdom, attaining enlightenment through experience of the senses, what we see, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, what we feel, and how it makes our body feel. This is all related to Venus. And if you look at Venus's symbol on a chart, it's a circle and then a cross underneath, and it's spirit into matter. And what's that process? That process is inspiration, right? It's literally having an idea, a hit, a download, a transmission that you receive in your body and you experience, and then you create with that. And through that process, Venus, the feeling part of it, is able to transmit that wisdom back to source. So the ecstatic bliss of transformation, the ecstatic bliss of being inspired and creating and being in love with something is what Venus is all about. Okay, so what are we doing with Venus in Pisces? So now we have this dreamy, watery sort of mystical duality where illusion, delusion, and reality become one. And, Neptune rules Pisces. Neptune is very close to Venus right now. In fact, Venus, when she goes retrograde, will go back over towards Neptune and Rahu. So we have this striving spiritual energy, this energy of Neptune that's, anything goes, anything's possible. And so if you're thinking big here, if you're creating big, weird, wild, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Like Neptune and Pisces, it's all very cool. It's all very chill. And so I have been literally embodying this process, you guys. By the visions and the journeys that I've been going on, I have been contacted or connecting with this white serpent, this white snake energy. And so, hopefully, if y'all listen to that meditation that I gave y'all last week with the binaural beats, where we wake up that Kundalini energy and you listen to the serpentine light language, hopefully you're sensing into the kind of energy that I'm sensing. It's very powerful. It's very creative. And for me, it's downright weird and in just a place I've never been before. And I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it because every time I close my eyes, I see this vision of this white serpent. And so all of this is connected into the energy that we're going to be reading today. It'll stun you. I mean, if your jaw's not on the floor and you're not laughing and you're not just amazed at how connected everything is, then maybe this kind of energy isn't for you. But for me, I had a blast putting it all together. So let me just check in real quick because I think we have a special guest in the chat. It looks like my mom is here. Oh, she made a channel called Mildred Noe, Dr. Danny's mom. Oh, mom, you're so sweet. She can't see everyone else. She's sure it's it's her error. Okay, well, mom, everyone is saying hello to you. Look up astrology. Said hi, Dr. Danny's mom, and spiritually lucky. Made a little monkey sign. So good. All right. Well, this is going to be fun, you guys. Let's do this. The next thing I want to show you before I get into the PowerPoint is um, the decode resources because I want to make sure y'all know where to go. If you go to decoded.co, this is one of the best websites out there that has all these ciphers. There's hundreds of them for free. And it was put together by Logan of Decode Your Reality and Jordan of Waters Above Crypto. And what an amazing service. So I have to shout out to them every time I do these because if it wasn't for their work, I wouldn't be able to deliver this information to you. So here it is. Today we are going to be using the Phi cipher. And the Phi cipher is, just basically enumerates the irrational number string of the golden ratio of Phi, 1.618. And when we get into the presentation, I'll show you how we get that number. So there's the irrational number there. And so each letter is assigned a number based on the digits of Phi. So 1.618, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what we'll be using. If you go to cosmicsugar.org and you go to resources, download these resources, you're going to get a pack of pictures that will give you what I'm using in this particular decode. So days of the year. So for example, we're going to look at February 16th. It's day 47. We're going to look at the 20th, which is day 51. So I'll show you that as we go through the slides. You can also get your birthday card here. So like I was born August 4th. So my card is the 9 of diamonds. So if you guys want to pause and check out where your birthday card is, I think you can go to it's all in the cards to get an interpretation of it if you don't know what the card actually means. I like to use it because each card is assigned a number in the deck. And so you can pull a lot of synchronicities out of the number assigned to the card for example, the 7 of diamonds is 33, right? Tarot is also nice because each one of these tarot cards sans the major arcana, which is the first 22 cards, but each of the ones from 23 to 78 also correspond to a playing card card. And they also have their own numbers. So you can really use these as numerological ciphers to find, where the synchronicities are. And it's literally amazing sometimes. There's also the medicine deck, and then that's my Scrabble cipher. But you can actually find my Scrabble cipher in the Dakota. Logan added that. I don't. Let's see, where is it? It's under other, and it's down here. You can check out the Scrabble cipher. So that might be interesting for you, Mom, if you want to get into any decoding, because I know you love to play Scrabble. Okay, so that's those two. Other resources is Number Empire. You can put whatever number you want into here, and you're going to get a lot of properties. So, for example, if we put the number 41 in there, uh, we would know that it's the 13th prime. We would know that the 41st prime is 179. We would also be able to tell if it was a Fibonacci number. So this is a great resource too. And then there's the irrational numbers database at sabidium.com. And we are using, I've used pi and phi for many of the numbers that we're looking at in this particular presentation. So this is a good resource too. And then, of course, the Royal Chemistry Society's periodic table. And these come with some really beautiful images and you can click on it and it'll give you the key isotope, the uses and properties and the history. It's just fascinating. Great resource for learning. So I urge you all to check out those resources. Let's get into Venus. Okay. Those of you that have been following me and my Venus work, you've probably seen this video 100 times. For those of you that are new, this hopefully will be stunning to you to be able to see this representation of Venus, Earth, and the Sun. And I like to speed this up a little bit. So what we're looking at here is Earth in the middle. So this is from Earth's perspective. So if you're standing on Earth and you're looking out into the sky, or if you're above Earth and you're looking out into the solar system, you're going to see these movements. Okay. So let's hit play. You're going to watch the sun go around Earth from our perspective and Venus go around the sun. Okay. Every time Venus does this, that's a retrograde loop. That's a Venus star point. This is a superior conjunction right here. This is a retrograde motion, inferior conjunction, Venus star point, and back around again. So once this cycle is complete, this takes 8 years. So when Earth goes around the sun 8 times, this pattern is completed every 8 years. The time frame between these two loops is 20 months. So from this loop to the next loop is 20 months. And the entire cycle takes 8 years. So look what's being traced here. I hope you guys are seeing this. This is a 5-pointed star. This is the star that we trace in elementary school, the never-ending star. And the number 5 is very important. So we have 5. We have a 5-pointed star that's created in 8 Earth years. And I don't know if you guys counted this or not. I can go back and play it again if you want to, but if you'll just trust me when I tell you, Venus goes around this 18 times during this whole pattern creation. So a 5-pointed star created in 8 Earths with 13 Venus orbits. Those numbers, 5, 8, and 13, begin the Fibonacci sequence in earnest. And the Fibonacci sequence goes all the way out to infinity, but basically the way you derive the next number. So how would we get the number after 13? Well, we would add 13 and the number before it to get the next. So 8 plus 13 is 21. 13 plus 21 is 34. 34 plus 21 is 55. 55 plus 34 is 89. I'll show you this again. But I just wanted to show you that this particular pattern encodes the Fibonacci sequence. And we're going to look into that sequence and how we discovered that as well. It was discovered by a man named Leonardo Fibonacci, and we'll look into him a little bit. There isn't a whole lot about him, but what I did find was super, super interesting. And it all ties back to the numerology. And so when we have the Fibonacci sequence, when we have these numbers laid out, obviously they got farther and farther apart the higher you go. But the closer you get to infinity, if you take one number and divide it into the next number, so let's say you take 13 and divide it by 8, you get a number that looks like 1.618. If you take 21 and divide it by 13, you get 1.618. If you take 34 and divide it by 21, you get 1.618, which is phi. That's the golden mean. Okay. And that ratio Has to do with geometry. It's Leonardo da Vinci used it with the Vitruvian Man. So all of this ties together. There's this, and then the whole point of showing this to you and explaining this to you is that there is an underlying code. There is an underlying programming within the ether that we sit, within the material in which we work. And the sky above us is like a slowed down macrocosm of the inner microcosm that's going on within us energetically. So, in other words, we are also encoded with these same proportions. The Vitruvian Man shows us that. I don't have any specific examples, but I think if you took your hand and the length from your elbow to the tip of your fingertips, elbow to the fingertip, and you did that ratio, that would be 1.618. And same thing with your forearm. If you laid that against another portion of your body, you would find another 1.618 ratio. So this is why I study Venus, because she's not only beauty and harmony and love and sensation and creation and immortality, but she's also like coding the underlying pattern for creation in the universe. So that's why I love Venus. And then, of course, these visions with this white serpent, that liquid light energy that flows through your chakras is the Kundalini. It is the serpent energy. That's the name that we give it in esoteric studies. And so we're going to dive in. We're going to look at the energy for this week and see what kind of astrology we have. All right, PowerPoint time. Let's look at it in slideshow view. I hope you guys are doing good. Please give me a thumbs up if you love this video so far. It's only going to get better. And then subscribe if you're lurking. Please hit that subscribe and notify. Like I said, YouTube's algorithms have changed. I don't know if y'all have noticed that, but like I said, I didn't even get notified of my own video going live, and I hit notify. So I think it's going to be harder and harder to, with their new algorithms, to adjust to the community building that we've been used to doing. And it is my intention to build a community around what it is we're trying to study, the actual sky, the real useful energies for modern magicians and mystics. All right, Venus and Pisces, timeline decoded. So this is the Fibonacci sequence. This is as high as we're going to go right now because we don't really need to go into the 300s, but you can see how each number is created by adding the two previous numbers. So if I grab my pen here, let's see, what color should we do? Let's do light blue. So 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 plus 5 is 13, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully you're seeing how this Fibonacci sequence is built. We've explained this star here, and then also we have this star. This is the geometric star that's being traced in the sky, and the angles that are within it are actually pretty fixed and pretty standard. So 72 is one of these angles. 108 is another angle. And then this angle that they haven't enumerated here is actually 36 degrees. So anytime you see 36, 72, or 108, it's going to tie back to this star. Okay. And then we just watch this. And then what are we counting down to? Why do we care about the Fibonacci sequence? Well, very similarly to thinking about eclipses and how they have energetic ripples through space and time, it came to my realization that perhaps the Fibonacci sequence may also play a role in the energetic ripples of Venus's star point. When she's retrograde, when she's at her inferior conjunction, when she's closest to the Earth, between Earth and Sun. I mean, guys, she's so close that she heats up the Earth during this day. It's March 22nd is the day we're counting down to. So we are counting down to 3/22/25. And that's when, if this is Sun and this is Venus, Earth is right here. And she's retrograde. So she's close. This is the closest planet to us ever. Mercury doesn't get this close. Mars doesn't get this close. This is what you call like sister planet energy right here. Almost like a binary planetary system. And in fact, the same face of Venus faces Earth every time she's retrograde like this. So there's some kind of tidal lock here too with Venus. But what we're going to see in the sky after March 22nd is Venus the evening star in the west becomes Venus the morning star in the east. So there's a flip-flop of Venus energy. And what I've done is I've taken the glyph of Venus that you see in your charts, and I've flipped her over and laid her on top of one another. And you get this Vesica Pisces. You get the symbol of Pisces right here. Okay. And this is happening in Pisces. So this right here is just a beautiful synchronicity. Maybe I could stop here, but I can't. I'm just going to keep going. This is the timeline that I created right before New Year's Eve. And what you're seeing here is several different things laid on top of one timeline that is dates. It starts on December 24th, which is Christmas Eve, and we go all the way to, I want to say, like July, or actually 6/25 is the date that I have right here. And 3/22 is the Venus Star Point. And so we're counting backwards and forwards to this date because this is a spiral of energy that is reverberating out in fourth dimensional space and time, like so, hitting the Fibonacci numbers. I'm going to show you this spiral in the slideshow, but hopefully you can see this. So we're creating a Fibonacci spiral by monitoring these dates: date 89, date 55, 34, 21, 13, 8, and 5. So yeah, you can see the energy picking up exponentially as we approach this particular date. But not only do we have this retrograde Venus star point, we've also got Mercury going retrograde the same day as the lunar eclipse. Okay. And then Mercury's inferior conjunction, the height of Mercury retrograde, will be the same day as the solar eclipse. So Mercury's got something to say about all this. And Mercury's very involved. Mercury in the Phi cipher is snake, or is 24, which is snake. Okay. So we're going to be in this time frame for our astrology from day 34 to day 21, because today is day 34, meaning we have 34 days until March 22nd, the Venus star point. Okay, and these orange numbers are when the moon will be in the actual same spot of the solar eclipse, which will be 17 degrees of Pisces. Okay, so remember that this solar eclipse is in 17 degrees of Pisces. And what happens on that day, on this last eclipse point day, this is the last time that the moon will be in 17 degrees of Pisces before the eclipse, is also day 21 and is also the same day Venus turns retrograde. So this is a big day. This is about 2 weeks away. It's right after the next new moon. Okay. So this is the timeline we're going through, and I've done decodes from here to here and from here to here. I think we have 3 installments, and there's a playlist. So if you go to my channel and you go to playlists, it's the dates to watch 2025. And there are 3 previous videos in there that you can watch to get caught up on everything that we've been talking about. All right. So here it is. Here's what we're going to discuss. This is what you call a time map. In Prometheus, you can set this up in your software under the transit section. And what you'll see here are, on the left side of this column on the left, you'll see the planets that are quick moving. So Mercury, Sun, sometimes you'll see Venus over here, are making an aspect. So for example, this is a square to the planet that it's affecting. So Mercury is squaring onto Jupiter. That's what that symbology means there. And then this line, you follow that out, shows you a 1-degree orb of this contact and the time that it peaks and the day that it peaks. So we'll talk about each of these transits, is what they're called, but we're also going to specifically dive into these particular days that I have starred. We've already done a little bit on this on day 34 on the 6th today. In the previous video, we unlocked quite a few things, but there's a few more things that I wanted to show you about today that are just super interesting. We will, in turn, we'll go back and forth between the astrology and the numerology, so we don't get too insane in the membrane with the decoding. We'll kind of pace ourselves a little bit, so you get a little bit of both. And then at the end, we'll hit this very, very important day, which is March 1st. So it's eclipse point 1, Venus station retrograde, and day 21. Now, through the week, you'll notice the moon moves through different signs. This is the moon up here. Today, we're in Virgo, and we're going to be in Libra until the 18th, which is Tuesday. And then Libra, Scorpio, and Ophiuchus are very small signs. So this is a quick transit. This usually feels like a quick, like, death and rebirth. I love this time of the month because this is when I am very deep and philosophical, and I come up with some really, really amazing ideas. So I'm looking forward to this week. Plus, I don't have to go to the hospital this week at all. So this is, yeah, this is gonna be good. And then we start next week with a moon in Sagittarius. And I just noted that this is the 55th day of the year, which is one of those Fibonacci numbers. I just thought that was pretty cool that it was lining up with today, because in the Phi Cipher, spirituality is 55, Venus retrograde is 55, and meditation is 55. So that to me, the numerology is saying yes, meditate, contemplate Venus retrograde, and be very spiritual this day. And then we will decode these other days. We'll do this at the end as the moon moves from Pisces to Aries. And this day right here, the 27th, is our new moon in Aquarius. And this is the last new moon before the eclipses. So this is the lunation. The 27th is when the eclipse's lunation starts. So the full moon of this new moon will be the lunar eclipse on March 14th. Okay, cool. Let me know if you guys are still with me. Give me some woohoos. All right. So let's talk about this Fibonacci sequence. I've showed you how we calculate the next digit, and I've also showed you the important Venus numbers. 144 is also in there, and 144, if you start with 0, then it's the 12th number, or the 13th number. If you start with 1, it's the 12th number of the Fibonacci sequence. In number empire, it starts with 0. But here's the Phi cipher, and I put Phi in the Phi cipher just to see what it was, and I got 21, which is also a Fibonacci number. So I just thought that was super interesting. And this is, we talked about this in the beginning, but here's the graphical representation of that. And the way that they can do that, the spiral, is they just draw the same arc in each of these boxes that are at a ratio of Phi to the previous one. So 5 is, or 1.8, the size of the area of 8 is 1.61 times the area of 5. And 13 is 1.61 area of the box 8. And so that's how we can create this Fibonacci spiral. And if you look in nature, you see this everywhere. You see this in petals, the way that they grow. You see this in embryos as they're forming. It's really, really quite spectacular. Galaxies, too. Yeah. So this is Fibonacci, Leonardo Fibonacci. They don't actually have his official birth date. They just have his year. So I couldn't do any astrology on him. But where these numbers came from was super interesting. He has a book that he titled Liber Abaci, which means basically the book of numbers or the book of mathematics, because Abaci is a root for abacus. And he studied rabbits. So he basically studied the population of rabbits, and he postulated that if nothing happened to the baby rabbits and it went completely idealized, that each subsequent generation of rabbits would increase by this factor of 1.618. And so he was actually able to study that and count these rabbit populations. And it was noted that in book 2, he got all the way up to the 13th place, which was the value of 233. And so just remember that, because these two numbers, 13 and 233, pop up a lot in this astrological decode. Fibonacci, if you put his name into the Phi cipher, he also has his own cipher, by the way, too. It's called the Fibonacci cipher and the Fibonacci reduced cipher, and it puts the actual Fibonacci numbers in it. But I didn't want to confuse us with too many ciphers, so I just stuck with the Phi because I really feel like this one resonates really well with what we're doing. So Fibonacci is 45. The number 45 is the 21st decimal digit of the golden ratio. So remember that irrational number that I showed you? 45 appears at the 21st decimal digit, and Phi is 21, and 21 is a Fibonacci number. Pattern is also 21. If you go to the periodic table of elements, you get the 21st element is scandium, and that has a little naga right there, or a serpent creature right here. And its atomic number is 45. So that's interesting, because when you do white nagas, which is white serpents, you also get 45 in the Phi cipher. So Fibonacci is getting a nod essentially from all the other energies that have been swirling around this decode. Liber Abaci is 39 and Magician is 39. So here's just a little bit of words about phi. I think I explained that pretty well. I don't know that we have to necessarily belabor this slide. This is just the words that I used earlier to show you how we got the number. Pi, on the other hand, is another number that we use, and it's also an irrational number, meaning it's not an integer. It's not like 1 or 2 or 3. It is some number between 3 and 4. So it's an irrational number that goes on forever and ever. And it expresses the ratio between the circumference in distance around the circle and the diameter of the circle. So, if you have pi times the diameter, you will always get the circumference regardless of what size the circle is, and that's why we like constants because you can use them in any equation regardless of how big or small it is that you're using it. Now, because we have this golden ratio, which is the ratio between distances in a straight line, and we have this pi, which gives us the circumference and the diameter with this constant, we have another constant called the fine structure constant. And the idea behind it is very, very similar to the ratios that we're using with phi and pi, except it's on the atomic, like Planck length scale. So this is a ratio that comes up a lot when they compare the movements and the distances and the masses at the atomic structure. So we see 137 a lot. It's a known constant in physics. And then, of course, those of you that are archaics fans like I am, you know about the 108-year Phoenix cycle. In fact, this is a constant that Jason brought to my attention, which helped me pull everything together. It was just stunning, just by knowing what this one number was and what it meant. So let's do some cool things with Venus and these constants. If you if you were to stand on the sun, for example, and let's say you just look at where Venus is right now in 17 degrees of Pisces or 21 degrees of Pisces, and then you wait for Venus to do her orbit and come back to the same spot, it's going to map out to about 224 days. If you divide that number of days by phi, you get about 138. That's amazing to me. Bam, it's right there. And all the other planets have the same kind of relationship with either pi or phi or both. So, for example, if you take Jupiter and you square its orbit in years, you get 138 exactly. If you were to do the same thing, but sitting on Earth and watching where Venus is now at 17 degrees Pisces, and you watch her do her complete cycle plus retrograde back to that same spot, you're going to get 584 days. If you divide that by phi, you get 360, which is the perfect circle, which is pi. Okay. So if you take 72, which is this star that Venus creates, and you multiply it by pi and phi, you get 365, which is the number of days in our solar year. Now, 72 times 5 is also 360. So we have these numbers that keep coming up, that keep showing us the connectedness of the circle within the spiral. So here we are back at our timeline. And here's our Fibonacci spiral. Spiral pattern is 50. So I want to review with you some of the decode energy that we're bringing in from the previous 3 presentations that are helpful to understand what we're doing today. So spiral pattern is 50. White serpent is 50. If you take the element number 50 in the periodic table, you get the element of tin. And if you take tin and you look at its picture on the Royal Chemistry Society, you get this graphic that looks, I know it's a mirror image, but to me, it looks like Rahu and Ketu. It looks like the South Node and the North Node. Um, so when you put Rahu in the phi cipher, you get 14. When you put Ketu in there, you get 9. This can be a compound number. And in fact, a compound number 149. So to my surprise, and I didn't even know this when I found these 2 numbers, when I looked up the solar eclipse cycle to find out what Saros cycle number it was, I was quite stunned to find that it was Saros cycle number 149. I mean, literally, like, what? 149? And there's 21, which is Nagas. Okay. 149 is the 35th prime number, which is bromine. And this element, you guys, you can't see it here, but trust me when I tell you, you can look it up if you want. Bromine boils at 137 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the friggin' fine structure constant. So, yeah. So, bromine boils at, let me write that here. Bromine boils at 137. Bromine's the 35th element. Moon is 35. Okay. And the moon is associated with eclipses and this whole energy that we're decoding till it actually happens. All right. Now, in the previous slides, we went ahead and did a tarot reduction on 149, and we got the number 71. The 71 is the 7 of Pentacles, which is also the 7 of Diamonds in the playing card deck. The 7 of Diamonds is the 33rd card. Watch this. Are y'all ready for this? This is crazy. The 33rd prime is 137. What? So you take 149, you do the tarot reduction, you get the playing card, which is the 33rd card, and you get that it's 137 is the 33rd prime number. Wow. You can also do a playing card reduction on this. Take 52 as many times as you can till you get to less than 52, and 45 is what's left over. 45 is the 6 of spades. 56 is the 6 of swords. 56 is barium. Barium is 137. 45? Remember, 45 is the 21st digit in the golden ratio string, in the phi string. 21 is Nagas. 21, this is the 21st cycle of 71 of the Saros series. 71 is the 7 of diamonds. Or the 7 of pentacles, yeah. So it's all, I hope you guys are as amazed as I am that all of this is just, and this is just from the previous work we've done. So let's talk about Moon in Virgo opposing Venus in Pisces. This is happening today. So hopefully you guys are feeling that Virgo moon. A lot of people will tell you that the moon is in the sign of Scorpio today, I think. But I think people get Virgo energy confused with what they're saying Scorpio feels like. It is a profoundly deep and purging energy sometimes, isn't it? Going through Virgo. So you have the emotional energy of Virgo, purging emotions you don't need, opposing Venus. But Venus is in this really dreamy, cool place, right? Really creative place. And the moon is feminine energy, just like Venus, but it's about our emotions. So we're grounding our emotions while we're working in this creative space. That's what that energy sings to me. Venus is also in a sextile to Jupiter. Not just today, you guys. This actually kind of starts heating up around the 19th and will go all the way into March. So the next 2 or 3 weeks, we've got this Venus in Pisces, okay, sextile to Jupiter in Taurus, who's now direct. A sextile is an opportunity. It's a favorable energy to allow the best of both of these very benefic and wonderfully expansive planets to influence you. So, yes, we've got a new moon coming, we've got eclipses coming, but if you can tap into this space right here, you're going to ride the highest wave above all the trauma. Trust me, like I have seen the last week, people are going through hell. I've seen it. It's come through my doors. It's been on my beds and in my patient census. But personally, on my level, the things I'm dealing with, this is what I'm tapping into. Because this is expansive creation. This is the ability to really kind of tap into that just strange, creative, wonderful place. Let's see what it looks like in the sky. Jupiter is 26 in the Phi cipher, and Serpent is 26. So there's a connection there. And I highlighted the slide numbers for you, and they are numerologically important, but I can't tell you about 31 just yet. You're going to see this slide again, so just keep your eyes on that. But there it is. There's Venus in Pisces, Jupiter in Taurus. You can actually see this in the sky. And so I encourage you all to go up there, to go out after sunset and look up. Look up at this for the next 2 weeks. If you have a tough day, just go out there and take a deep breath and let that energy sing to you. It's really, really fantastic. This was really cool too. So the moon opposed Venus energy we talked about, the moon is at 17 degrees, like right now. and Venus is at 17 degrees. So they're both in 17 degrees of their respective signs. If you spell out moon opposed Venus in the Phi cipher, you get 89. 89 is a Fibonacci number. Okay, so even the astrology is speaking to us. It's just amazing. 89 is a very special number. Not only is it a prime number and a Fibonacci number, it is also the 24th prime. So the F11 means that it's a Fibonacci number. So it's the 11th number in the sequence, meaning that the number after that is the 12th number in the sequence, which is 144. So we've got a prime number that is the 24th prime, that is the 11th Fibonacci number. Did you know that 89 appears as the 11th decimal digit of pi? I didn't, but when I saw that, I was like, what? Because this is the 11th Fibonacci number, and it's the 11th decimal digit in pi. Did you know that 89 is the 13th decimal digit of the phi sequence? I didn't either. So there's 13 for you. 13 is also a Fibonacci number. We're just a couple of weeks from that day. So here we have our Fibonacci sequence. If you spell 13 in the Phi cipher, you get 33. I mean, okay. So who cares about 33? Well, 33 comes up a lot. 33 is triskaideka, meaning of 13. So triskaidekaphobia, for example, is the fear of 13. And but just triskaideka is of 13, which is 48 in the Phi cipher. Higher self is 48. Ophiuchus is 48. This is the 41st slide of this presentation, and it's the 13th prime number. The 13th string, number 13 appears at the 55th decimal digit of phi. 55 is also a Fibonacci number. Oh my gosh. So these two Fibonacci numbers are tied together, not only by their by being in the Fibonacci sequence, but also by the sequence of the ratio that they produce. Whew. All right. 13 also appears at the 110th decimal digit of pi, which is actually, you can take away the 0, it's 11. So now we're back to 89, which is the 11th Fibonacci number. Okay, so 1333. I also did this cool thing with mirroring 13. You saw slide 31 back when we were on that one. I went ahead and I said, what is 31 in both the pi sequence and the phi sequence? And I got 137 for pi when you put 31 in there in Cymbidium. But I also got 137 for 31 in the phi cipher. So there we go. We have 31, 31, and pi and phi. All right. And remember, 137 is the 33rd prime. So these are big numbers. They're going to come back up again in some of this energy. It should be pretty cool. And then White Snake, of course, ties to the Triskaideka, the Ophiuchus, with the number 48. Venus sextile Jupiter is 76, which reduces to 13, because if you take 7 plus 6, it's 13. And then the 49th slide is also reduced to 13. If you take 76, it's the 49th decimal digit in phi. And we're on the 49th slide. So I just thought that was super interesting. And then, of course, 49 becomes 13, and then here's 31, which is the reverse of 13. 31 is the 11th prime. Oh, no. Did you see that? It's connected once again back to the Fibonacci sequence. The 11th prime number and 24. Whew, cool. Let's see what's next. All right, this is what we've already done. So I'm going to go through this real quick. 34 reduces to 7. If you want to read about the number 7, you can go to Cosmic Sugar under Numerology, and you'll get the essence of this number. It's a number of wanting to master the information. It's a number of wanting to, it's Venus, it's harmony. as well. So we've got also the color indigo, I believe. So those are the three big energies associated with 7. It's knowledge, Venus, and the color indigo. 34 is the 8 of diamonds in the playing cards, which is the 8 of pentacles in the tarot, which is 72, which is our star. Okay, so there's connection number 1. Connection number 2, it's the 9 of diamonds. So this is also my birthday card, but in a different date. So February 16th and August 4th are both 9 of diamonds. So it ties back to me. It's the 35th card in that deck, which is bromine, which boils at 137.8. So retrograde is 35, and that's what we're counting down to. This is 34 days from the Venus retrograde, the Mercury retrograde. This is also cool. You can go to what day of the year it is, and February 16th is the 47th day of the year. If you type out 34 in the Phi cipher, you get 47. I just thought that was pretty cool. It's like, yeah, that's kind of a nod, a little God wink that that's, the right thing to do. And then the element number 47 is silver, which is associated with the moon, and its atomic mass is 107. If you drop the 0, you get 17. And there's our moon opposed Venus energy today. So I'm just like, okay, yes, this is all. So one of the things that happens when, actually, you know what? I'm going to pause for a second, just catch my breath and see how y'all are doing. Because we have a little bit to go. Let me escape this. We're going to keep. How are you guys doing? Let me know. One of the things that happens when you start connecting with the cosmos, the way we do with constellational astrology, like when you actually realize that you're connected to the cosmos, the macrocosm is the microcosm, so within, so without, you begin to have these alarming number of synchronicities. Like you can't even keep track of them. It's almost as if, you want to tell everybody, oh, that just connected with me, that just connected with me here. And but there becomes so many that you just can't. and so you try to just sort of go through life magically with a smile on your face, like, oh yeah, I see that. But this decoding, I'm actually showing you what I've always been able. It's just so neat to be able to show you where the synchronicities come from and how they're actually tied together. So I'm just going to see if you guys have any comments real quick before I get going. Let's see. Woohoo! Phoenix camp all day, baby. Or Camp Phoenix. All right. Thanks for the woohoos. Oh, Christine, you're so sweet. Oh. You had a birthday too, didn't you, Christine? Happy birthday. Happy solar return. 50 is a wonderful year to be alive. You just don't care anymore, which is so freeing. So everybody wish Christine a happy birthday in the comments. She had a tough time, lost her mom, and then she had a birthday, and a lot of things are shifting and changing in her world. So I'm sending you love and light, Miss Christine. And hopefully you'll be there tonight. We'll see you, or tomorrow night. Cool. All right, let's get into this a little bit more. We're going to do some more astrology here. Let me make sure that didn't do what I think it did. It did. We're going to go here. There we go. Okay. I'm going to hide that and go here. All right. So 2/16/2025. If you do the numerology of that day, it is 63. 63 is the element of europium. One of the key isotopes of europium is 153. Now, the funny thing about 153, it's one of those very powerful numerological numbers. And one of the cool things you can do with it is if you take 1 through 17, there's our 17 again, and you add them all up, you get 153. So that is amazing because there is our 1/7 again. The 17 degrees. Oops. I lost my pen. Hold on, guys. Let me get that back. Fill tip pin. Color. Yay, blue. Let's do red. So there's our 17. Goes back to silver. Goes back to 34. All right, let's look at the 20th. This is the day that Saturn enters Pisces for its first entrance. Saturn will go retrograde later in the year and dip a little bit back into Aquarius and then go back into Pisces. But Saturn in Pisces, this is a big deal. It's been 28, 30 years since Saturn was here. So it's a dissolution of boundaries. It's a loosening of the structures. It's dissolving of like time, almost. I mean, I don't think I can describe Saturn in any other way in Pisces, unless he's somehow able to find a way to structure the dream, to find form in the mist somehow. This is how I see these two energies. It's like they're almost polar opposites. And Saturn will be snuggling up to Neptune, not this year, but the year after, 26 and 27. And so we'll have a really powerful combination of these two opposites, going from all that is known and structured and regulated to unknown and everything that's possible. It's going to be a very interesting couple of years, I think, mostly because of this, because of Saturn in Pisces. And so that starts in a couple of days. We also have the third quarter moon on the 20th, and this moon is in Scorpio opposing planet Uranus. So when you have moon in Scorpio, right, this is a deep emotional energy, a desire to be flexible in the area of transformation, a desire to dive deep, to really feel, opposing Uranus and Taurus, which is about breaking things up, being erratic, breaking free, pulling off the chains. And they're opposite each other. So there's an erratic energy and there's an emotional energy. And sometimes this can be a little bit hot. There might be, but it's the third quarter moon. So most of the time, by the time we get to the third quarter, it's about wrapping up the energies of the lunar cycle. Instead of taking action to manifest, it's about wrapping things up. And so we may have there might be some kind of attachment perhaps to something that we feel emotional about that will bring about an unusual transformation. And then Mercury in Aquarius is going to square onto Jupiter. So these are the two, this is the energy right here. That's the only aspect you see in this time map, but you can actually see it in the chart too. So let's see what that looks like in the sky. And we have the date right here, 2/20 of 2025. Its numerology is 67, which is 13 if you reduce it. Hello, 13. It's the 51st day of the year. And 51 is the 51st prime number is 233, which is a Fibonacci number. And it happens to be the 13th Fibonacci number. So hello, 13 again. So the playing card for February 20th is the 5 of diamonds, which just happens to be 31. Okay, the inverse of 13. But look at what slide we're on, 72. Hello, Venus. So the 67 or the 67th card in the deck, I'm sorry, the 51st card in this deck is the Queen of Diamonds. And she relates to the Queen of Swords in the tarot, which is the 63rd card. 63 is the 31st decimal of phi. You can't make this shit up, I swear. Like I'm just playing with numbers and then that pops up. I'm just like, okay, we're talking about 13 and 31 right now because they're mirror images of each other. Slide 76 reduces to 13. And then we have Saturn in Pisces at 0 degrees of Pisces, which is 85, which reduces to 13. We also have a third quarter moon. Here's the moon in Scorpio. You can see that right there. That is equal to 85, which is 13. We've got rubidium, which is atomic number 85. It's the 37th element in the periodic table. 37. Now, I might have been stretching this a little bit, but I had to see where it went. And it's the The 37th prime is 157, which also reduces to 13. Okay, so we're getting a big nod from 13. Oh, I did this too. So I took 85 and I put it in the phi site or the phi string, and I got 293, which reduces to 13. 13, 13, 13 everywhere. Moon in Scorpio reduces to 13. 0 degrees in Scorpio also reduces to 13. So, I don't know. This is pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think. Now, Mercury square Jupiter. This is an energy where, like, we're going to have the planet of our mind in Scorpio, by the way, square to Jupiter in Taurus. And this, if you write this out, it equals 71. And 71 is the 7 of Pentacles. 7 of Diamonds is 33. If you type out 13, you get 33 in the Phi Cipher. So this is expansive communication, but there's a tension here. So when Jupiter overexpands with Mercury energy, you get someone that is overly enthusiastic. Like, yes, 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 let's do this. Let's go here. Let's go there. You could have that kind of energy. You could have somebody that is overly dogmatic, like barking rules at you to do things a certain way. You could also have Mercury making a tension with the expansion. So Mercury may not want to expand, but Jupiter wants to. So watch your money here, because Mercury is usually about money, especially when you watch it with the stock market. And Jupiter is, of course, about, expansion and abundance. So you want to be very careful if there's a square here, not to do anything too rash. All right, the next date is the 23rd. This is a big day because Mars is finally stationing direct. Oh my gosh. And Mercury is going to trine Mars. Mercury and Saturn are also trining during this time. So you have basically two things in a trine to Saturn. So here we have Mars at 17 degrees of Gemini. Where have we seen that before? I mean, it can't get any more synchronous than this. Every time I look at a chart for a particular day and an important transit, I'm seeing these numbers repeating themselves. 2/23/2025 is 70 in numerology. And I really didn't find too much about it other than the sum of its divisors was 144, which is a Fibonacci number. So look at all these numbers we've pulled up out of this sequence just today, looking at the astrology and the numerology. It's amazing. 2/23 is the 54th day of the year. 54 appears at the 57th decimal digit of phi, which is lanthium, which is 138, which is the phoenix. Okay, so phoenix and the fine structure, kind of the same number. Mars direct is 45, the mirror of that, and 45. And I think it's interesting to use the mirror of it because Mars is actually switching directions. We're going from reverse to direct. So Mars in reverse is 54, Mars direct is 45. It's the 21st decimal digit in phi, which is Nagas. This day also has a birthday card, the 2 of diamonds. And that is card number 28. 28 is the 28th prime is 107. And then we have 17. So 17 of Gemini, 107 here. And Gemini spelled out is 36. Creativity is also 36. So this is a time of creativity when Mars goes direct. We go from this sort of inward reworking things, reworking the mind, reworking what we're reading and learning, to being more outwardly creative, to expressing the self a little bit more. So as Mars moves direct, you're going to find an opening to take action on your creative ideas and inspirations. And there's that star again, because remember, this angle is 36 degrees. All right, the numeric string 28 is 51 in phi, and 51 The 51st prime is 233, which is the 13th Fibonacci number. Wow. 28 is at the 33rd decimal of pi. I swear to you, I didn't plan this. I didn't make this up. I just was playing with the numbers and all of these things just popped into existence. It's amazing. Mars trine Saturn is 67, and that reduces to 13. So here we are moving right along. We are at February 25th, and here we have Moon conjunct Pluto in Capricorn and Mercury conjunct Saturn in Pisces. So Moon conjunct Pluto. I actually have some energy in the numerological decode as well. It's super interesting how this one came together. 225 is its numerology is 72, which I'm going to show you this, right? The Venus star. It's the 56th day of the year, which is barium, which is 137. The King of Clubs is the playing card of the day, and that's 26 in the deck of cards, and it's the King of Wands, which is 36 in tarot, and we have creativity and serpent. So maybe tapping into that serpent energy to be creative. And then, of course, serpent is 26. And then, of course, we see the star with 36. So, wow. If you guys want me to stop, let me know. I can keep going. Moon and Pluto together is 54. And you can see that here. In Stellarium, it's harder to find Pluto. You actually have to type it in and get the crosshairs. But here's the moon. And then this crosshairs is Pluto. So we have a moon conjunct Pluto this day. So this is deep emotions. This is hidden emotions. Pluto moon is 54. 21 shows up at the 54th decimal place. 21 is Nagas. Hidden emotions is also what this moon and Pluto is. And hidden, which is 41, is the 13th prime. And emotions is the atomic mass of scandium, which is 21, which is Nagas. 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 Amazing. Here it is, deep emotions. That comes to 57 in the Phi cipher. And that's Lanthium, 138. It's okay to say wow. It's okay to type in those kind of things if you guys want to. You can say like, wow, or mind-blowing, or amazing, jaw on the floor. Because that's what I actually laughed when I was putting this together. I was like, you're kidding me. Are you serious? Mercury, Saturn together is 47. So when you have Mercury and Saturn together, oof, this is so Saturn structure, but this time in Pisces, right? This time in that dissolving energy. And then Mercury likes to talk and think, but again, in this realm of the spiritual mist, so it's dreams, it's transmissions in a space of dissolving structures. So 47 is dream work. I figured that's a really nice keyword for both Mercury and Saturn in Pisces. So Saturn wants to work and Mercury wants to dream here. So it's dream work. So we'll be working on our dreams. Saturn in Pisces is 68. The number 68 is the 24th digit of Phi. 24 is snake. Amazing. All right, now we are on to the new moon, and Mercury in Pisces will sextile onto Uranus and Taurus. And then, of course, we have our new moon in Aquarius. Wait till you see this. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. So 227 is 74 in numerology. 74 is at the 56th decimal of pi. Hopefully you all know what this is by now. It's barium. Back to the fine structure constant. It's the 58th day of the year. And that just reduces to 13, which is pretty cool. It's the Jack of Clubs, which is 24, which is snake. And then we've got the Page of Wands, which is the corresponding tarot card, which is the 33rd card of tarot. So there's 33. Sun and moon together, if you put them in the phi cipher, is 51. Then again, we're back to the 51st prime, which is 233, which is the 13th Fibonacci number. And here it is. Here's the humdinger, as Logan would say. Moon and sun are at 13 degrees of Aquarius, both of them. So, wow. And then if you add the two together, sun and moon, you get if you add the degree numbers together, you get 26, which is serpent. So, yeah, there's that. Oh, and it's slide 137, if you didn't see that. And then slide 138, which is new moon, because this is a new moon, right? This is sun conjunct moon, 48, Triskaideka, higher self, Ophiuchus. Sun, moon, in Aquarius is 81. And wouldn't you know it? 81 is the 33rd digit in the golden ratio string of digits. Amazing. All right. So I didn't talk about this Mercury sextile Uranus. This is similar to the energy of Venus sextiling Jupiter. This will be a little bit faster. Mercury and Uranus work well together because Mercury is the transmitter, sort of on the inner solar system, the personal level, communicating with the sun. Uranus is communicating with the cosmic, bringing in just completely new and different and crazy ideas. Okay? All right. Let's go into this eclipse point. Day 21. This is a new Fibonacci number. This is 21. So March 1st is 21 days from the Venus Star Point in Pisces at the peak of her retrograde. She actually stations retrograde that day. And that is a numeric synchronicity. It is not a coincidence. It was planned that way. It was coded that way. It will always be that way in any Venus retrograde. So I think that's pretty amazing, which is kind of why I wanted to count down to the Venus star point from using the Fibonacci numbers, because the moment she goes retrograde is 3 weeks before the star point. So let me just talk to you real quick about eclipses. You guys know we've gone through this before. Eclipses happen at a certain degree, either a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse. The solar eclipse that we're focusing on is happening in 17 degrees of Pisces. So there's our 17 again. The solar eclipses are going to trigger events, flush out unresolved issues. This is a good thing. This is why we're, kind of falling in love with the Venus and the Jupiter energy, because things that are unresolved that we, either need to get rid of or don't want to deal with will be flushed out, and you want that. Lunar eclipses, on the other hand, which this one is happening on 3/14, which is pi, have strong emotional eruptions. And these are also necessarily not that bad either. It kind of shows us things, helps us evolve a little more quickly and get us to a higher timeline. And so now the point of going through all this is that anytime the moon goes through 17 degrees of Pisces, technically within a year of that eclipse, but we're watching the 3 months before and after, you can have events that are associated with the eclipse. The third eclipse point was, I want to say, right around the first of the year, we had all those fires. Then we had all those plane crashes at the last eclipse point. I'm not saying that something bad's going to happen, but if you want to look for patterns, these are the kinds of things we're seeing. And the reason is because eclipses are so disruptive to the energy, because the moon and sun in an alignment like that, so close together, causes a reverberation in space-time, and that ripples outward in all dimensions. And it does that in a frequency, in a pattern that we can time. And using the moon's location in Pisces at 17 degrees is a way to sort of track where that reverberation may be. Okay, so that's why I have on our timeline here these numbers highlighted, because that's when the moon is at 17 degrees of Pisces. So a cool thing you can do with our constants that we've been learning, the phi, the pi, and the fine structure constant, is you will get, if you take 138 and you divide it by pi times phi, which is 5.08, you get precisely the length of the sidereal cycle of the moon. And that to me just like watching moon or a sun, Venus, and Earth in that five-pointed star dance, this is literally like another like aha moment when you see this. Because you're taking that fine structure constant, you're dividing it by the spiraling circle, and you get the moon from 17 degrees of Pisces to 17 degrees of Pisces in the next cycle, regardless of phase of the moon. Okay, so that's pretty impressive. March 1st, Venus will be at 21, which is Nagas, and Moon at 17, which is where Venus is today. So Venus is right here, right now. But by the time we get to March 1st, she'll be at 21 degrees, stationing retrograde. And it's day 21 to her Venus star point. So there's that. Once again, the Nagas. If we type out eclipse point into the phi cipher, we get 56. And that's barium, which is connected to the fine structure constant. If we take eclipse point 1 and just add the 1 to it because we're giving it a title of eclipse point 1, you get 57, which is lanthium, which is the phoenix constant. So the fine structure and the phoenix constant show up at this eclipse point. And it makes sense because that's how the eclipse points are actually calculated. 138 is 381 in pi. That's just interesting, so I put that in there. The numerology for 3-1 is 49. 49 reduces to 13. And there is everything getting all snug in Pisces. So 27 days from this day will be the solar eclipse on 3/29. And Venus, Mercury, Moon, Neptune will all be together right here on the eclipse day. 49 is the 57th digit of pi, which is lanthium, which is eclipse point 1. 3-1 is the 60th day of the year, and 60 is 281. 281 is the 72nd digit of the series of phi, which is our star. Now, the 9 of spades is the playing card for this day, and it is card number 48. You guys remember what 48 is, right? Like I saw 48 and I just started laughing. I was like, you got to be kidding me. White Snake, Ophiuchus, Higher Self, and Triskaideka. The 9 of spades is also the 9 of swords in tarot, which is 59. And 59 is the 17th prime number. And that's where all the magic's happening at that eclipse point at 17 degrees of Pisces. You see how beautifully, intricately connected everything is? This is why this is so fun for me and so fascinating because I walk around my entire day seeing things like this. I don't know if you guys do. If you guys see synchronicities like I do, please let me know. I think it's fun that you guys are actually listening to me and are just as nerding out like I am about it. But yeah, so the 17th prime, and it just shows you that Venus and Moon are all connected to this day. 21 is the 54th. We knew that. But did you know that expansion is 54? I thought that was interesting because I like the idea of using retrogrades to expand rather than go inward. Expand in a way that's more up and out. And with Pisces here and the creativity of Venus and the mental channel of Mercury, this is just a great space to expand. 21, if you spell it out, is 40, and the word mindful is 40. So I think the message for this day is mindful expansion. Because Venus is going to be stationing retrograde. And if we think about this timeline, I think we're done. Yeah, we're done with the slides. If we think about this timeline, let me actually go back to the timeline so that it might be better if I do it this way. Escape. if we think about this timeline and what I told you about how Venus's energy is slowing down from right to left, but from forward to backward in the, depth plane, she's getting closer and closer to us. I mean, this is an energy that just speeds up. Um, so between these two dates, 34 and 21, while she doesn't move very much, only 4 degrees, uh, forward in the forward motion towards us, it'll be much more intense. So make sure you guys are being mindful in your expansion, especially with that Neptune Pisces energy. Sometimes that energy can be delusion or illusion energy, right? So we want to be careful too, not to get pulled in the illusion and the delusion. And let's see. I see you spiritually, Lucky. No more PowerPoints. It's hilarious. Well, I can't help it. It's my MO. It's how I do it. Heartlight Therapy says, I'm not where you're at, Dr. Danny, but hope to be one day after listening and things will eventually click for me. Yeah, that's what you do. You don't try to understand, get what you can from what I'm giving you, and whatever you need to hear, you're going to hear. That's what I think. So for me, it's just fun to do these, and you guys enjoy listening to them, and I enjoy your feedback. So we'll just keep doing that. But I can't tell you that there's not going to be any more PowerPoint. Oh, oh, you meant you wanted more PowerPoint? Okay, well, I can definitely do that. I probably have over 10,000 slides on my computer with all the projects that I've done. So cool. Oh, Christine, thank you for the bam. Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed doing that. Cool. Yeah. So I think, later this week, maybe Thursday or Friday, it just depends on what I can get done. We are going to do the teaching on Octarine, the color of magic, and the metaphysics of light. Oh, I'm so excited for this topic because light is weird. Light is so weird. And we are literally convincing ourselves that what we're seeing is true because of light. And we should not be doing that. So yeah, we're going to talk about it. And octarine is a color that you can't see visually with your eyes open. You can't see it with your eyeballs, but it's your magic color. So we'll be talking about that. And then the week after that, I'm going to take you through the new moon in detail. We're going to go by sun sign. I'm going to show you how to read new lunations based on sun signs. This will be very useful for those of you that not only want to know like how this new moon is going to affect you, but if you're also a budding astrologer and you want to know how people do those horoscopes by sun sign, I'm going to show you how they do that. It's actually pretty easy. And then of course we'll have Athens talk. And then I have some podcasts I'm lining up. I'm just emailing people right now to see when they want to do it. So other things are happening too. All right, my friends. Well, I love you so much. Thank you so much for coming and sticking through the PowerPoint. If you're here till the end of this, you're amazing. You're a trooper, and I appreciate you. And I'm so happy that you were here. I look forward to the next time we can hang out. And until next time, my friends, I am going to give you the top 10 reasons why you should study astrology. So here we go.